joining me today is supermodel Malaika Arora. Actually, I should say supermodel, host, food entrepreneur, yoga, trailblazer. There's so many hats that she wears. But today we're going to be talking about her being the judge of Supermodel of the Year Season 2. Hello and welcome, Malaika.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
Good. Very good. Had a fantastic time doing Supermodel. I think I kind of really look forward to shooting the show because being a judge on Supermodel, one, because it's MTV. I have a really close association and a fondness for MTV because I think that's where I started out. So I'm always very partial. And of course, something like Supermodel, which is again an aspect of my life where, I started off being a model. So that's again something that I really identify with because I identify with what the girls feel, what they're going through, because I went through the same, same instances and the same feelings back then. So yeah, and I think we're really happy that every year that we're able to do something exciting and we're able to give the girls a platform that they can really that they can explore, that they can actually use it to the best of their advantage.
Well, the theme of this year's competition is unapologetically you. And I think you embody that sentiment for sure. So what advice did you give the contestants on how to be yourself? I guess there is no way to learn it, but what pointers did you give them?
Well, like you said, there's no way to learn it. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess somewhere in the business, sometimes you tend to get so taken in or so enamored by what's going on that it's very easy to be fake. It's very, because you're always trying to project something. So I think you need to drop that facade. You need to just be yourself. You just need to let yourself shine. Let that person in you, whatever it may be, whether it is somebody who's shy, whether it is somebody who's noisy, whether it is somebody who's boisterous, whether it's somebody who's talkative, whatever it may be, whatever aspect of you may be, that needs to come out and that needs to shine. And I think that's what I always say.
So do you think, as compared to you when you started out, do you think the girls now have it easier or do you think it's tougher?
It's very difficult to say whether it's easier or tougher because back then also one went through a certain amount of difficulty or certain amount of not knowing how to go about the whole process or literally being thrown into the deep end. So we've also been through it. It's just that I feel with every passing year you have a reference, so you see, okay, this is how it is, this is how models approach their work, this is how they're whatever. So I feel with every passing year you have a reference point, you have somebody that you look up to, you have somebody that you feel, okay, so and so is your role model. So that's always there. Now how difficult or how easy, I think that's a very relative thing. It's as easy or as difficult as it was back then as it is now. Yes, I mean, with shows like this, you really get an amazing platform. Probably that's a good thing. With platforms like this, you can really prove, you really stand out. Look at the reach television has, look at the reach shows like this have. So yes, that's an amazing aspect, that's an amazing platform. But in terms of difficult and hard, it'll always be difficult.
Fair enough, that's quite subjective. But as a mentor and a judge on Supermodel of the Year 2, what is the kind of change that you want to bring about? And what is the kind of inclusivity that you personally push for?
I think that's something we've been pushing for. That's something I want. And I think it's very important for the girls, one, to feel comfortable. Two, for them to be themselves. Three, to feel inclusive. In whatever capacity, whatever you may be, whatever you represent, whether you represent a community, whether you represent a body type, whether you represent a skin color, whether you represent a country, whatever it may be. you should feel inclusive. I mean, that is something I feel that is very important to put out there. Whatever, I mean, if whether whatever your sexuality, whatever it may be, you should. I feel that is something that needs to be addressed, that needs to be um, highlighted. So yes, I think being inclusive in every which way, and I think that's the only way we can. I mean, these are terms in today's day and age. We keep talking about diversity and inclusivity, but you have to actually implement it. So, and I think that's what we're doing.
Well, do you find that beauty standards today are almost impossibly high? Because while we talk about inclusivity, we do see a lot of girls kind of gravitating towards that perfect, acceptable face in 2021, which is like bigger lips or maybe, non-hooded eyes or that perfect figure. So, what do you think is the kind of standard that girls are aspiring to, and how do you think we could make it perhaps a healthier standard?
Which is what we've addressed on the show as well. I mean, I've said it to them. I said, you cannot aspire to be, you can't aspire to be a filter on social media. You can't. I mean, that's just unhealthy. That's just not real. And unfortunately, in today's day and age, kids are so taken in and so influenced by by looking a certain way. So yes, one needs to seriously be able to draw the line and be able to understand real from fake. So I think that is something which is very, very important. Now, having said, tomorrow somebody feels the need to be to be enhanced cosmetically. I think that's a very personal choice. That is, that I'm nobody to sit down over here to tell you, oh, you should or you shouldn't. Of course, it is scary. With every passing day, it's getting younger. I mean, young kids as young as 14, 15 are completely changing themselves only because they want to look like somebody that they see on a filter, or that aspect is scary. That aspect is and nowadays it's so nice to see that there are countries that are banning certain apps because they're just ridiculous. They're just ridiculous. I mean,
declare that if it's photoshopped.
Yes, you can't. I mean, I find that really scary because that's what they. So eventually they're taking photographs and going to a doctor and saying, we want to look like this, but that's not real. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have cellulite. We all have fat. We all have good hair days, bad hair days. We have acne. We have stretch marks. So these are things you have to deal with. I mean, yes, but you have so much is available to you to probably combat it. To deal with it, but to have such extreme demands or such extreme wants, that is a bit scary. And like I said, with every passing year, it's just getting younger and younger. So that's where people need to step in, or and kind of and have be a little more responsible about things like this, because kids are so impressionable. Yeah, and if they can't meet those standards, it just plummets them into various states of, whether it is depression, whether it is eating disorders, whether it is being suicidal. I mean, it literally does that to kids, and that is what is scary. And those are aspects that need to be addressed and dealt with.
Especially kids, because they're so impressionable. Like a stray comment on social media could kind of motivate them, tell them.
These kind of things trigger so much, and it's a chain reaction. So people don't realize what it does. That's why through the pandemic and through all of this, one has realized mental health is such a important aspect that needs to be dealt with, because suddenly people have just realized sitting at home for these 2 years, that's all they've been doing. Just sitting and trying to well, I guess at some level to entertain themselves, but not realizing that these are some really ridiculous demands on yourself. So yes, hopefully people get a little more aware about it.
Absolutely. But you are somebody, Malaika, who has always been in the limelight, in the paparazzi's glare. But, and there's you have so many fans, but there's so many unwanted opinions that come your way too. So how do you deal with all of that? Because from the outside, it looks like you're completely unfazed. But I'm sure girls would want to know how you deal with all the criticism that comes.
Well, I know that I have, I mean, with whatever I do in life, there will be criticism, there will be praise, there will be brickbats, there will be highs, there will be lows. So yes, I'm fully prepared for that. But I don't let it govern or rule my life. I honestly, all of that negative, let's put it as that negative space, I keep that away, because I cannot have that in my life. I'm very open to criticism. I'm very open to somebody telling me good or bad, but I really don't have the time
Negativity or
or
trolling,
patience,
something. Yeah.
yeah, to sit. I don't, I mean, at the end of the day, I want to I want to be happy. I want to live in a positive space. I don't want that negativity around me. I don't have the time for that. So yes, I try to maintain that balance, and like you said, I try to be as unfazed about it as possible.
Through these years, you always look picture perfect. You're such a sought after model, even today. But I'm sure you've had like a fashion faux pas or two, like in your modeling days, that you are embarrassed about. Would you want to share one of those?
Oh God, I've had so many now. I mean, I
Is there
can't really
anything that
pick that.
still makes you
I
cringe?
can't really pick, but I've had so many. Like I was like, oh God, when I look at it, I'm like, what was I thinking? So whether it is a bad hair, I mean hair, or whether it was some bizarre makeup or very thin brows, or this, I don't know why I went through this whole phase of wanting to look insanely tan with thin brows and these weird lip colors. Oh, we've all been through that. So yeah, and clothes, sometimes I look back and I was like, what was I thinking? Why was I wearing something like this? But at that moment I thought probably look fat. But yeah, so I guess I've had enough and more of those moments.
You
But
know,
you also learn from it. Eventually you learn from it.
yeah, I think by now you don't make any mistakes or take any false steps. As I keep saying, you are a model through and through, but you're also an entrepreneur. Now you've expanded into food with the nude label. You have Diva Yoga. Then I'm sure I'm missing out a few in the middle, but you've dabbled in so many verticals. So what's next? What else can we look forward to from you?
Well, yes, I love dabbling in various aspects. I think that's the only way I can grow. That's the only way I can explore. That's the only way uh, kind of be more relevant, so to speak. So of course, my latest venture being the nude bowls that I've tied up with Rebel Foods on the Eat Sure app, and I'm really really excited about my nude bowls, because what it stands for. I mean, it's all of. I mean, when everybody says, "Oh, nude bowls," what is why nude bowls? But if you actually break it down, that's exactly what I stand for. It's nutritious, undisguised, delicious eats, and literally I stand for everything that nude stands for. So I'm really happy that we've come out with a product like the nude bowls, one which is affordable, which is delicious, which is nutritious, which is readily available on our Eat Sure app, and some really fab dishes that we have on our menu. So I'm really really excited about my new venture, and I feel I want to keep adding. I want to make sure that the nude bowl, like right now, we have what, 7 dishes on our menu, because that's just our start menu. But I want to keep adding to it. There's so much that I want to do with it. So um, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that. I'm really excited.
So I guess, in today's speak, it would be like no filter foods. And I think that's so you, because you will lead like a filterless life. So I think that's perfectly, in line with who you are. And thank you, Malaika, for joining me today.
Thank
It
you.
is a lot
Thank
of
you so
fun
much.
talking to you. And
Bye.
take care of
Take
yourself.
care. Bye, Shilpa. See
Bye.
you.
See you.